Yo guys, welcome back to another video. As you probably saw by the title and thumbnail, this video will be about the speed of Natsu. Now I've probably already heard about the speed skills or metas for other verses like Bleach or One Piece. What if I told you that completely pales in comparison to Natsu's speed skills? If you aren't really into the basics of Fairytail speed scaling, a lot of the feats and statements I'm about to introduce might be things you've either never heard of or just didn't even think went Fairytail to begin with. But don't worry, I'll try and provide a plethora of these speed feats and statements so you can just choose which one suits you best for your personal interest and argumentation. Starting off as early as chapter 1, and it's already possible to get Natsu to light speed. I'm not even joking. This is because you have someone who's objectively fodder, being the same person named Tony Rabbit, who can use light magic. Given this fact, it wouldn't even be a stretch to say Natsu is fast in his magic, especially since boulder type magic dictates higher overall stats given how it's interconnected with one's body, which upscales their strength and speed as they evolve with their magic. So given how Tony Rabbit is complete fodder in reference to Natsu, it would just make it more substantiated to say that Natsu is actually fast in his magic, which is consistent because you have Natsu is comparable to beings like Erza, who could cut air itself, which requires supersonic speed. And even Natsu himself can effortlessly handle interstellar travel that travels across worlds in finite time. So yeah, Lightspeed Natsu since chapter 1 isn't actually that crazy to say, which is pretty crazy to think about. Moving a bit further on, we get to the Galuna Island arc where Natsu faces off against beings like Alter disguised as a zombie, and Alter has the ability to send the orbs into the future in order to attack Natsu, and Natsu is able to react to one of these orbs, meaning that he's reacting to attacks from the future while still in the present, which would unironically be infinite speed, although I wouldn't really argue for this, I'm just indicating that it's there. Moving on to the Phantom Lord arc where Jellal actually fights Loki and dodges his magic. This would affirm that Jellal is light speed given the descriptions revolving around Loki's magic that actually affirms that it's light speed. And yes, this matchup would actually be canon even though it's anime only given the establishment within the manga. And obviously Natsu would scale to this light speed version of Jellal as he scales to a way stronger Jellal. And based on the information I indicated prior in reference to older type magic, this would just upscale Natsu's overall stats. And then speaking about Loki, as we get into the Loki arc, where Lucy ends up unconsciously bringing forth the celestial spirit as she tries to stop Loki's existence from dissipating. As the Celestial Spirit King arrives, he instantly warps the universe from a bright day to a night sky with multiple stars in it obviously. The speed of the Celestial Spirit King's magic would need to be MFTL to infinite speed, given how the universe can be argued to be infinite in size, although no one at this point within the story, not even Natsu, can be argued for scaling to the Celestial Spirit King, although this will be important for later when I get into the Celestial Spirit Realm arc and Tartaros. Moving a bit forward, we get to the near climax of the Tower of Heaven arc, where we get fights like Erza vs Ikaruga. Ikaruga wields a sword that transcends space, which includes transcending spatial distance and the spatial confinement of the universe itself, which allows it to cut into alternate dimensions of course. Erza is able to match the speed of this sword and cut it as well, meaning that at this instance, Erza would have moved a finite distance in zero time. This is important because the qualification for infinite speed is either to traverse an infinite distance in finite time or to traverse finite distance in zero time. This is another one of those broken speed metas for Fairytail that no one really touches upon, although I'm simply indicating their existence within the story, which is crazily enough not even contradicted. Anyway, moving on, still within the same arc, we get introduced to Jellal's Grand Chariot, which is just a magical spell that sends down stars in the form of constellations, with these constellations forming stuff like Pleiades and Big Dipper, pick your poison. And we know that these are actual astronomical stars, especially because Ether Nano works on a natural level and exists within all things in the universe. Not to mention that Mashima is objectively and consistently shown and depicted a wide range of knowledge on constellations, with some being similar to that of what Grand Chariot actually represents. This would mean Jellal is sending down stars from multiple light years away down to the planet in just a few seconds, with some Kulks getting this spell to actually billion times FTL, which Natsu would scale to in his Dragon Force form he attains when eating Etherion. And this is actually pretty consistent if we take into the prior light speed feats I indicated prior, in which Natsu would scale to. And like, for instance, an analogy I could input is like, if you take into account the Etherion multiplier added onto the prior light speed feats that Natsu actually accomplished, then it would actually make sense as to why Natsu's relative to that of the Grand Cherry. And if you're wondering what the Etherion multiplier is, then it's basically the same multiplier in reference to nuclear fusion, given how the countless magical elements that are encompassed within Etherion form a fusion that is relative to that of the magnetic confinement fusion, which encompasses nuclear fusion. So Etherion would overall be like actually substantiated to being like a billions to millions times multiplier. It's also important to note that one of the countless magics within Etherion is light magic, which would obviously upscale the speeds of Natsu's attacks to baseline light magic at the end of this arc. From this point on, we're gonna really get into the arcs that like encompass a lot of speed feats, so I'm just gonna try to keep this short. Anyway, not too far later, we get into the Tenrou Island arc, which actually holds a bunch of fast and light speed feats, which is an actual very good arc for speed scaling if arguing for the simple, extremely consistent global / baseline interpretations for fairytale speed scaling. Starting with Uran Meteor, a magical spell from Lucy which hurls stars directly to the target, with these being confirmed real stars on multiple occasions, which would again be a fast and light to billion times faster than light speed feat, in which Natsu would scale to. Next, we got Fairy Glitter, which also sends down stars. By now, you should pretty much notice the trend of Mashima inducing these attacks that are star-based and can easily be inferred to being faster than light to billions times faster than light, with it also not being much of a problem for characters to scale to the speed of these attacks, which is crazy to think about. And lastly, for Tenrou Island arc, we have Gildots perceiving and crushing a black hole, which requires baseline faster than light speeds. Hopefully I don't explain why. After that, it's a Grand Magic Games arc, which doesn't really have much more for speed other than the fact that there's an extra evidence for Lucy spells actually using stars, and that Natsu can dodge Sting's white magic dragon slash, or whatever it's called, I'm not saying all that. With Sting's magic also being light magic as confirmed within the manga on numerous occasions, and by the monthly magazine, which is canon. After Grand Magic Games arc, the Celestial Spirit Realm arc comes next, which is anime only wise, with the Celestial Spirit Realm arc still being canon, as that arc is being like included within the manga and confirmed canon on other media. I'm pretty sure even within the anime, as you get to the next arc, which is Tartaros, there's a special line included which just further confirms the canonicity of the Celestial Spirit Realm arc. Within the Celestial Spirit Realm arc, there exists the Celestial Globe, which has access to light that can shine across the universe, even making constellations visually visible in a matter of seconds. And beings like Happy are able to easily dodge the light beams from this globe. Heck, even like Wendy's Dragon Roy's fasten these lasers. Obviously, it doesn't stop there. We get the Celestial Spirit Beast threatening to destroy the Celestia and human worlds through affecting said worlds, which would be an infinite speed feat given the cosmological structure of these worlds. Even the Celestial Spirit Beast's roar can extend across dimensional borders to different universes in finite time, which is again infinite speed on the baseline. There's honestly a lot more feeds in this arc, but to be honest, I'm lazy to get into them. Anyway, skipping to Tartaros arc, and if we excluding the further consistencies for the prior established magics being light speed to like MFTR plus, we get introduced to the other good feats like the Celestial Spirit King's Galaxia Blade, which is also baseline BFTL, basically MFTL plus speeds. And even if you're one of those that lowball Fairytail speed like extremely low until it only like light speed by the time of Tartaros arc, it would still be extremely high at the end of Tartaros arc based off multipliers alone. Like the Etherion multiplier for instance has Natsu independently when Dragon Force. Although if we like not going based on that one, but rather like another multiplier like Kyoko's multiplier, which I'll explain briefly, it still like gets Fairytail speed insanely high. Anyway, in Kyoko's Etherious form, her power increases by the second unlimitedly. We know that each second counts as a 10 times multiplier due to Kyoko's speed splitting errors at the moment she went into her Etherious form, although I'll just posit that this is a higher end, like, even though it's not really, while using a lowballed interpretation of 2 times multiplied by the second. Conveniently, at the time of the story, we are introduced to the phase countdown bomb, which has a 32-minute time at the start, with it also being indicated at the start where like every single time Kyoko actually interrupted this timer. Although we know definitively that 3 minutes passed from minute 21 to minute 18, and that 10 minutes passed from minute 18 to minute 8. Then given how she lowered the countdown by 3 minutes, leaving only 5 minutes left, which ended up occurring, that would mean altogether at bare minimum at least 13 minutes occurred during this fight. Also note that even if you aren't keeping track when she lowers the countdown or not, it's verbatim stated that the fight lasted at least 20 minutes. So yes, I'm lowballing a lot. But don't worry, I'll indicate the calcs for the low interpretation and for the high interpretation. Equate this to a standard interpretation that Fairytail's only light speed by the time of Tartaros arc paired with the use of this, and you'd still get them to the MFTR ranges by the end of Tartaros arc, which is crazy to think about. Anyway, for the majority of the video I was technically lowballing these feats, although to give a general summary it's more easier to simply argue MFTR plus for the verse as a highly substantiated argument. Yes, I could get into the further arc since this is simply just the end of Tartaros arc, which is way far away from the where we currently are within Fairytail. But as I said earlier, I'm lazy. Anyway, if you want to see a video for the later arcs, then just let me know.